You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're here today to bring you our thoughts on that wonderful home result against Wolverhampton Wanderers, where the game finished 2-0. Major props to Kev and Robin for predicting the scores there. Obviously, I think we played very well, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty with it by introducing those that are joining me. We've got Kev and we've got Robin. Robin, sadly you didn't make it this week, but how are you after that result?
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Obviously, I had to wait until they put the match on YouTube to watch it, But yeah, I thought we'd played well.
Excellent. And likewise, Kev, you were there, like me. How were you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I mean, look, a good result. I think it was one of those games where, to be honest, like we said in the preview, Wolves need to start winning games. So I was expecting them to throw everything and the kitchen sink at us, which they did. But, if you listen to any non-Sunderland supporters out there, wow, Wolves are an easy team. It was going to be a guarantee, etc., etc. But I think we actually deserved the win and we did well to get it.
Indeed. Well, I want to kick off today's pod by changing it up a little bit. I want to talk about, obviously, the bridge first, because that got opened for the match day. Luckily enough, I got a chance to... Kev, you were already in the stadium when they did the opening of that. Fair to say that the build is this big thing and you had to take a step down and then walk across. So it was very strange. But ultimately, you were from town to the stadium in like 5 minutes. It felt so bizarre going to the little one. We're here. And she's like, what? Yeah, we're here now. But Kev, you got to see it though. Obviously, when you're walking, obviously on the other bridge.
Yeah.
What was it like for your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a great link between the city and the stadium. There's no sort of bones about it. To be honest, I felt the reason it wasn't maybe as popular as it could have been is planning the walkover at 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
was a bit late for a match day. They promote about getting fans in the ground early and get there early and arrive early, and then they organise the walkover after the team arrives. You guys were stood queuing across a bridge as the team buses arriving. For me, what they should have done is done the walkover at 1-ish. So you all arrived at the ground at the same time as the coach arrives to welcome the players in and give the players a big welcome.
Yeah.
The flags, the displays, the legends that were there, all of that would have made a brilliant impression on the lads arriving.
Yeah.
So they missed an opportunity for me. But there'll have been logistics for why they did it at the time they did it, I'm sure. But I actually felt the council made more of an effort for the rugby opening of it.
Yeah.
With the smoke and the fireworks and more of a fanfare, that when we opened it for the football, other than the display and music, the council made no effort. So, yeah, I'm glad it's open. And look, let me be honest, it made the walk out of the ground a lot easier because you didn't have the pinch point at Sheepfold's car park. But yeah, I just felt it was too late in the day for it.
Yeah. I know. Obviously, Robin, you've seen it on now the socials, and obviously you've seen now open. I just want to get your thoughts on it because I know, obviously, potentially next game you do get a chance to come up. Obviously, you may try and use it yourself. What's your overall thoughts on it? Because from what I understand, after walking across it, speaking to certain security, so to speak, that was helping people get across. Apparently, there's going to be a low-level bridge getting built too, to counteract the high bridge. Whether that's true is a different story. But what's your thoughts? What you've seen on socials there, Robin?
Yeah, I mean, look, what I've seen on the socials, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was needed to connect the city to the stadium. And obviously Sheep's Folds as well, and obviously there is the future development going on around there anyway, where they're regenning the area. So yeah, I mean, it's not just for match days and stuff. It's it's going to connect the city to the other side of the river, and I think it's really good. It's I say without being there to witness it, I can't really say too much. I said previously, I think it's long overdue. I think Kev's right though. I think it should have been open at 1, if not a bit before. I know there was some sort of like pubs in the town centre were offering cheap pints between sort of like 2:30 and 2:45 because they're saying it's only 5 minutes away now. You've got time for another pint here. Obviously, the club are going to have to work on that as well to get people in. So I believe there's a fan zone in Keel Square as well.
Yeah, there was. Yeah,
Which I mean, yeah, it's a good idea. Whether or not that's going to continue on all match days. It's going to be an interesting one. That you would have thought, obviously, the fan zone would have been nearer the stadium itself, like it used to be in the car park, but obviously the car park's used for parking cars. So yeah, I mean, it's a good idea. I think it's a great occasion. Like Kev said, I mean, yeah, they did make more of a thing of it for the Rugby World Cup. I guess with it being the opening game of the World Cup, and it being a World Cup, I can sort of understand that. But really, I think Sunderland Football Club is the sort of bread and butter of the city for a lot of people.
yeah.
So yeah, maybe they should have made more of an occasion. I think it'll be interesting when the night games come around because obviously it's going to be lit up in red and white by what the reports are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be but I say it's just that extra bit needed, and I say it's to me, obviously, you've got to thank the council, you've got to thank KLD and the team at the club as well, because obviously it's been a joint venture, so to speak, with the idea of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I suppose that's my take on that, really. Let's move on to the football, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Nice little segue into the football there. So obviously, Ukele got his goal. Obviously, we'll talk about goals in full in just a moment. But Ukele got his goal, and then obviously for the unfortunate, shall we say, but quite fortunate to us, Yaroslav got the own goal for Wolves. Beautiful take. Like sign him up as a striker if we can, just as a backup. But generally speaking, lads, once again, to me, obviously, Robin, you saw the highlights. Kev, you'll probably back me up here. Once again, the crowd from minute 0 again till right at the end. Back in the lads. Yes, there was a bit of moans and groans, say 10, 15 minutes into the second half. But that was because Wolves wanted to try and prove a point. They want to go, right, we can get back into this. But other than that, to me, Roos had nothing to do all game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think our fans were there. There was a couple of quiet patches, and I think that was just nerves of could Wolves turn this interesting? And it's yet again a team of players that love to throw themselves about and do a little bit of the dark arts, and our fans grew frustrated with it, but the players didn't. That's the big thing for me, is the niggly little pushing the ball away or moving the throwing up. And all we did, actually, in fairness, was we did it back. When we had a throw in, Mukiele was taking his time.
Yeah.
He was taking probably 30 seconds to a minute to take a throw in. And it started to wind the Wolves players up, and it wound their fans up something rotten.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that side of it because it's about time we started doing that. Far too often are we nice and polite and friendly. And then when teams do it to us, we get annoyed and react maybe. But no, I thought we played really well. I do agree with you. I think the second half, there was a sort of 10-minute patch where we went a little bit edgy.
Yeah.
But I think, like you say, that's because Pereira for them was trying to change the tactics to try and get something out of the game. He needed a win. He needs a win desperately.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, for him, it was probably a moment of let's try something that will work, and it didn't pay off. I mean, from the highlights and stuff you've seen, Robin, would you agree that we did seem a bit uncomfortable for about 10 minutes in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, obviously at the time I was listening to it on obviously Sky, the Gillette Soccer thing, whatever it's called. Um, and we did seem a bit under the cosh, but then looking back on obviously what I've seen, um, I mean, apart from that one shot, which obviously Rivers had to save,
Mhm.
I didn't really see anything else there. That they were sort of like, do it. They had a couple of opportunities that they squandered. I guess we were a bit lucky, if they'd had the shooting boots on. It could have been a different result. Um, obviously, so I don't know who it was through at the end, when it was still 1-0, just sort of like put it wide, flicked it with the outside of his foot. I mean, if that's on target, it's 1-1 then and things change, I mean, Wolves were unlucky the last couple of games, with Brighton and Tottenham, so look, they're not a bad team. Yeah, things didn't go their way, and I suppose in a way they didn't go their way in front of goal, you know, um, against us. However, we had opportunities. I mean, there was Wilson in the first few minutes, which it was a tight offside, but I've seen it was offside. To me, it was offside. If it was one of those that had, you know, it'd been against us and they'd given it, we would have been fuming. I think technically he was just off. There wasn't a lot in it, but it was the right decision. Great finish though. Um, I suppose in time, we had chances there that we didn't really make the most of as well.
Mhm.
But I thought, it was a good, mature performance considering the age of the team we've got and the entire squad. We have got a young team still. Yeah, we've brought in obviously Xhaka, who's that little bit older and stuff. But then you look at the rest of the lads that have come in, and they're all quite young.
Mhm.
There's obviously Masuak, who obviously didn't play yesterday, but he's obviously a little bit older than that. But when you look at like Dinger and Talby, um, etc., they're not old. They're still quite young. I mean, Talby's what 20 or something like that,
Yeah,
isn't he?
funny, yeah.
It's I mean, yeah, great run by him as well. Which is technically it's going down as his second assist. Um, just want to obviously add them, a bit of a tongue in cheek about signing their defender up as a striker. Look, I mean, it's one of those. If that was a striker there, that wouldn't have gone in the back of the net. Um, I mean, you saw the keeper.
Mhm.
Um, he started to move across because obviously he thought the ball was going to get to Maenda,
Yeah.
and obviously because of that he was completely wrong-footed.
Mhm.
Obviously, I mean, Eli had a chance just before that where he ran the length of the pitch and really should have laid the ball off.
Yeah.
It's it's one of those things. Bit of look, I suppose after running 80 yards and doing it in the championship last season, then fair enough. You're going to want a goal at the end of it for as a reward for doing the run. But a more mature player maybe would have played the ball off slightly earlier, and it would have been 2-0 then, and you might have then got your 3-0 at the end of the day. Obviously, we're giving Kev the 2-0 because he did say it originally. I did say that in the group chat straight away, that Kev's got to have that one really as well. I was sort of like, he's sort of like bullied into changing it in a way. So yeah, look, it's a good result, good solid performance, and you just got to look at, Granit Xhaka again. What an absolute signing.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear anything, obviously listen to it and stuff, and it's just everything at Xhaka, he's just so composed.
Mm.
He's making the right decision. He calms everyone else down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
The good
great.
thing about Xhaka as well, everyone wrote, like, not everyone, like, not Sunderland fans, like, majority of other parties wrote Xhaka off before the start, before he even kicked the ball, saying he's past his best, he's not going to do that. The man just covered the most area on that pitch yesterday. I mean, surely, like, he must have done something right yesterday because Siddiqui was nowhere near him. on the list of most kilometres covered. But nevertheless, I do agree with you, Robin. The thing for me as well with Xhaka, you see, when he brings the lads out for the quick warm up before the start of the match, he's the one that's leading them out straight away and like, right, lads, this is what we're doing. Getting them all hyped up and ready. Get them back inside. Once again, they're all hyped out. As soon as it comes to kick off, get them out, and you can see the lads. There's a full set of confidence about them coming out, and that's what I love about his leadership. That he can do that. And touching on what you said there in regards to the players and the style of the play and stuff like that, we've all said we're not ones for effectively kind of walking a ball in the back of the net, so to speak. But the thing for me, the one thing I see out of it is Mukiele's goal. To me, is kind of we walked it in the net, but the intricacy of ball from Mukiele to Hume, Hume to Mukiele, and that finish was next level. I know he was lucky, some people say, because obviously it hit the keeper and then bounced over. But on another day, yes, it could have been saved. And then I'm going to get Kev's opinion on Mukiele's goal in just a second. The other thing I wanted to touch on is what you mentioned about Wolves' shots, saying obviously they didn't have the shooting boots on. On another day, if they finished, I think it was a 4 shots in quick succession. That could have that went either wide or saved. That could have been 4-1 any other day. But going back to the main focus because we won. Kev, Mukiele, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a well taken shot. At the end of the day, they obviously have worked on stuff like this in training. Enzo does a great bit of trickery to get the space to then play the ball to Hume, Michele Hume, in that way. And to have the composure as a defender to try and put it through the goalkeeper's legs, he knows that's the most awkward place for the goalkeeper to try and stop it. That's why he's done it.
Yeah.
But he's also very quick to follow it through, like as in once he saw that Johnson had got something on it, Mukiele was chasing that ball down to, if he had to, stab it in.
Yeah.
So for me, I thought he did really well with it. I think he's furthermore proving why we signed him. I mean, what an absolute bargain he is turning out to be.
Yeah.
But in general, I think we could have easily scored 3 or 4. Hume clattering the post, Isidore being off by about a foot. It was literally a foot, between the two of them. A non-VAR league, that's probably a goal. But I will say to the linesman, fair play, he kept his flag down until the goal was scored because it wasn't one of these moments of let's interrupt the play.
Yeah.
And actually he was onside. Do you know what I mean? He let it go, which is what they're meant to do in my understanding of it. When it's that tight, they're meant to just let it crack on, which is what he did. But I don't, like I say, other than the goal and then obviously the own goal, we just seem to be calm. I don't know where their manager got the thought that we didn't deserve to win that from. I don't know what touchline he was sat on, but yeah, in his post match, he said that Sunderland didn't deserve to win that game 2-0.
Yeah, it was a bizarre one, and this is where I want to bring Robin into the mix for Talby's run because it was a nice counter-attacking move, which we've seen us do many times already this season to try and attack. But I said to you, Kev, off pod last night, I didn't expect to see the speed that Talby had there. I've seen him be quick, but I wasn't expecting that quick to go from outside of effectively his own box and up the other end that quick.
Yeah, I mean, Robin's thoughts on that would be good as well. But I mean, he was known for his pace at Bruges. That was one of the things that when we signed him, everyone went, "Oh, apparently he's really quick." And to be honest, the way that Gertrudia plays the ball out to him and just says, "Off you run," was brilliant. But what I liked about that attack was we went very quickly with 3 players all running forward. It wasn't, we didn't seem leggy.
Yeah.
And like I say, if it wasn't for their defender putting the ball in the back of the net, that was in my ender's lap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Robin, your thoughts on it? I mean, obviously you've now seen it.
Yeah, I mean it's great pace. I mean, didn't he record one of the fastest runs in the Champions League last season as well?
Mm.
I think it was like, in one of the stats that came out. Look, yeah, it was great. He got the ball, he drove forward. There's only one thought in his mind was to get forward as quick as possible. Luckily, we do have that pace with other players there, to support him. Yeah, he picked the right pass, because he got his assist, really. I mean, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It's, I mean, yeah, it's a bit unlucky on the defender, so to speak, but, the defender had to do something because otherwise it was to my ender and my ender would have, had a clear shot on goal.
Yeah.
So, it was deserved. I mean, not just, going back a bit, but not just like Hume's header, which, I felt he could have probably gone with his foot then.
Mhm.
And then you've got one later on in the game, I think in the second half, where Ballard goes with his foot when he should have gone with his head.
Yeah.
Ballard doesn't make contact. So, I mean, yeah, it could have been 3-4-0 to us, really, before they even, had their shot, which Riff saved. I mean, yeah, it was a good save. It was, he did really well to get that and push it away from the goal. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know where their manager was coming from. They had possession, but like they kept saying on, the commentary on the Sky and stuff, that Sunderland are a team that don't mind giving up possession. They're comfortable without the ball. Their shape's good. They track back, they work hard, and they break forward with pace. So if we're going to do that and play teams like that, great. And you've got to look at the tactics this week and where LeBrie got it so wrong against United in the previous game, he got them spot on this week.
Yeah.
So fair play to him as well for picking the team and making the hard decisions, because obviously Masuaku dropped down to the bench. We all think it was the right thing to do, but obviously, he come in because of Ronaldo's suspension. Obviously, Ronaldo's available for the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
And he's got another tough decision to make, how he set up against Chelsea.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be an interesting one, and as we've said time and time again, especially with when this team is playing some great football, we're glad we're not the manager that has to make those decisions, because it must be a headache at times for Reggie's going, I've got some quality players here and I just need to work out the system. No, overall for me, I think to pretty much, I think summarize really, I don't think we've got really much else to cover wise. I generally think we just felt composed yesterday, and it just felt nice to see that still of the gel, because you could expect sometimes you could lose, as we've said there, Ronaldo due to a suspension could be like, wait a second, the team's going to lose a shift factor, so to speak, or a knock to a certain player. I think was it Siddiqui when he went down. Everybody was like, "Oh no, Siddiqui's gone down," and then it was just more lads. It's like near the 90th minute. I've got a bit of cramp. So it was just like, oh, right, it's fine. It's just that little bit of cramp. But I think for me, it's one of these things, and I'm hoping you to agree, is just that core of lads is similar to the core that we had in the championship. Everyone wants to be part of something brilliant, and the lads want to give everything. They're playing for a shirt. They're not playing for, there's my paycheck. Yes, I know they're playing for the paycheck, but you know what I mean? They're playing for the pride and the community now, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, every player said, that, it means so much to play for the club because obviously the fans get behind them and everything. And that's what it's about. Obviously, I don't suppose you would have seen it, Adam. Obviously, I saw I think it was on social media, someone did it. Like Sadiq actually sort of like rolled his ankle slightly
Oh,
when
I
he went
didn't see
down.
it.
He went down off the ball. He sort of rolled his ankle. Um, but obviously he continued on for a couple of minutes, and then, Dan Neil come on. I mean, Dan Neil, you know, didn't have much to do, I guess, but I think he did make a good clearance in the box at some point. They said on Sky, that he'd come in, he cleared the ball, sort of thing, because obviously Wolves were pressing before we got the second.
Mhm.
But again, it sort of shows that the team will fight till the end
Yeah,
and never say die. They're not going to give away goals and points like we have done in previous years. It's a completely new mindset with these players.
yeah, indeed. I'll just touch on one thing for uh, Kev to share his thoughts on. Speaking of Dan Neil, that few moments appearance ended up getting him his 200th Sunderland career appearance on Saturday. So obviously we haven't seen him much this season, Kev, as we've discussed there. Effectively his full game that we have seen him was against Huddersfield, but nevertheless, 5, 10 minutes here and there, and still to be on the pitch and doing something to, like as Robin said there, clearing out the ball is still a pivotal thing to do in the club.
Well, of course it is. I mean, yeah, fair play to the lad. That's like you say, 200 games. From boyhood fan to captain to now playing in the Premier League with his, boyhood club. I mean, that's a heck of an achievement. And yeah, I think Dan Neil's fully aware that the result comes first,
Yeah,
and unfortunately, game time for him right now comes second. And that's the way it's going to have to be, unfortunately, for a lot of these players. Luke O'Nien, Pat O, Dan Neil, they're all aware they're going to be second or third choices at the moment
Mhm.
because the priority for Regis is, let's be honest, getting ourselves into a position of safety very early on. Regis isn't stupid. He knows December's coming, and
Yeah.
that's going to be a really hard month. So what he wants
Mhm.
to do is he wants to get as many points on the board now before we hit December, when the challenging fixtures do come, and you might find you only win one or two games that month.
Yeah.
And obviously, imminently the FA Cup starts. And then that's another load of opportunities for some players to get their starts and their game time.
Yeah, indeed. Robin, do you want to give your thoughts on Dan? Because obviously it,
Yeah,
it
look,
it's well deserved, isn't it?
I mean, like I say, 200 appearances. I mean, it's some achievement. I mean, I just hope that, I mean, he's still not signed his contract. We don't know what's going on with that situation. Obviously, he can leave, for free next summer, sign a contract with a European club in January to move, sort of thing. Obviously, the club would like to get some money for him because obviously he's come through the academy and stuff. But I just hope that he's learning from Xhaka about
Mhm.
what being a captain is,
Yeah.
because you certainly see the difference between last year and this year. Yeah, we were in the championship last year, we got promoted, but just having that extra leader, that full leadership on the pitch to talk to people, you know, and the example, he's getting into everything, he's going everywhere, he's not going missing, he's not giving away silly balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's just it's an opportunity for Dan to learn.
Yeah.
I think going back to obviously, previous seasons and stuff. I mean, personally, I don't think we've had a leader as good as Xhaka since Kevin Ball.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, people talk about Catamol, etc. Yeah, he was good, but different level. Xhaka's on a different level, and he's just got that extra about him. And I think if Daniel can pick up on that and
Yeah.
realise what's needed, it's obviously going to make him a better player as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's pretty much a nice way to summarize everything there. So what I'll do is end there. So thanks to everyone for listening in as usual. It does mean a lot, everyone listening in. Thanks to you joining me tonight, Kev.
Yeah, pleasure as always, mate, and always positive when it's out of a win as well.
Exactly. So, no, thanks to you, Robin.
No, thank you, Adam. Obviously, say it's. I don't know when I'll be back there next, but it's. If I have to listen to it on Sky and stuff, and then watch highlights, and so be it, you know. But as long as I keep winning, I'll keep smiling.
Exactly. So, excellent, mate. So, is everybody else? Thanks for everything, and we'll see you on the next one.